Hi, welcome. If it is your first time of stopping by or coming across my YouTube channel, you are highly welcome. I appreciate each and every one of you who always tune back to watch my program. May God Almighty bless you. You are free to leave your comment constructively. Like you know, I present to you information across the globe, especially Nigeria to be precise. And today, I present to you another exciting video which we are going to watch together. Now let's watch this video together, then come to my comment section and tell me what you think about the video. You are free to criticize, but constructively, as we watch the video together.
I have chosen to talk about diversity, management of diversity in Africa generally, but in Nigeria in particular, because it is very relevant, especially when we talk about all the things happening in Nigeria, the Nigerian situation, what could be the core or the center piece, if you like, of the problems that we have. And when people ask me, what are your worst fears about Africa? I never hesitate to mention two issues: management or mismanagement of diversity, and management or mismanagement of population, particularly the youth bulge. The third one that is rearing its ugly head is credibility of elections and the effect of that on democracy and governance. Our emphasis today at this meeting is management of diversity, which has implications for the other two issues I've mentioned. I mean, if we are able to manage diversity successfully through good governance and good leadership, we will by extension manage population well, and electoral process is also likely to be well managed to give free, fair, credible, and generally acceptable election results. Diversity by itself is no problem. God is God of diversity and variety. Diversity is natural. It should be respected. It should be extolled. It should be celebrated, and it should be well managed. Diversity is beauty, and it should be cherished. It must not be destroyed by acts of omission or commission.
Who actually make the policy recommendations and lead their countries to take this issue on directly. So I think that was point number one. I really appreciate your sharing as you did, because you were actually spot on in terms of the management of diversity. The second issue that came to mind, you were talking about what causes the mismanagement. I agree with you, but I was also thinking that one of the issues we have on the continent, not just in Nigeria, in some countries I might add, I think some countries are doing better than others, is that the short-term political gain derived from mismanaging diversity has to be grappled with long as well. Because I think that short-term political gain overshadows the long-term implications and consequences, especially when you tie it into the fact that in some countries you're not able to hold those leaders accountable through the ballot box. So I think that would be a second part of it for me, that we need to figure out how we tie in the issues that you're talking about holding people accountable, because we cannot continue on this path. So those were just my initial thoughts. I have many more, but I recognize that there are many people in the audience who would like to engage with you and Congressman Wolf on the remarks that you have just given. So what I'm going to do now is I will open up the floor for question and answer and comment. So if you'd like to pose a question or make a comment, please raise your hand. I will acknowledge you. We will take 3 questions at a time. When you get the mic, please identify yourself and the your institutional affiliation, if any, and let us know if you're directing the question to Congressman Wolf or to President Obasanjo. I see a lot of hands already.
Monday,
so what I'm going to do...
If you do not, if I may ask you for crave your indulgence, let me make remark a little bit on the 2 points you have raised.
All right.
So that we do not cover that with
in the
other questions.
All right, sir. Please.
Those who need to hear my remark and in the AU, they probably have heard me over and over and over again. As you said in your introductory remark, I was one of those who brought about the new organization AU, which was the transformation of OAU, and then NEPAD and APRM. And all these were embedded in NEPAD and APRM. NEPAD was it's a program of AU, and I ran that for almost 7 years. So in terms of what I've, in fact, you could say that I'm talking like a broken record. What I've been saying since the beginning of AU to those who are my colleagues, those who have left before I left, and those who are there when I left. So that issue, but the point is that I think all Africans need to know this, because they too can, in their own different ways, put pressure to bear on their leaders to do what is right. The second point you have made is short-term political gain. Well, I think that is a problem that is there for all political leaders. All political leaders, not one. But that is what makes the difference between good leadership and bad leadership. Good governance and poor governance. Now, how far forward can you look? Now, are you only looking at the next election and no longer looking at even the current generation, not to talk of the next generation? And the problem, and that is the point that I have been trying to make, is that we must be looking beyond the next election. If all that we are looking at is the next election, then we will be failed leaders. That's the point I'm at. Okay, okay.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to answer those 2 questions. So let me open it up again. Again, I'll take 3 questions at a time. Identify yourself, your institutional affiliation, if any. And what I'm going to do, because there's so many hands, is 1 minute. We don't want to hear the history of Nigeria. Most of us are here because we understand it. But please get to your point. Ask your question so we can get as many people in as possible. So let me start right here, and I'll work my way there. Right here, right there, and then right over here with the lady, and then I'll take the next round after that.
Your Excellency, my name is Emmanuel Ogebe with the U.S. Nigeria Law Group. And as ADF country representative, you welcomed me to Abuja, and I'm now welcoming you to Washington. Now, when you were president, the Sharia crisis broke out, and Boko Haram also broke out. Our research indicates that the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan pushed foreign fighters from Afghanistan into Nigeria, and that intelligence was shared with your government. Can you inform us on...
Now, say that again.
When the U.S. invaded Afghanistan, they found Nigerian foreign fighters alongside bin Laden. And U.S. sources claim that the Nigerian government was informed that Nigerians were fighting with the Taliban. I want to know if you were aware of this intelligence at the time. Secondly, I want to commend you for going to negotiate with Boko Haram, even as a retired general. That shows your respect for diversity. Can you let us know why those negotiations failed? And finally, I thank you for putting
Hey, my brother.
a church in the presidential villa. That was very good of you.
No,
Thank
seriously, please limit yourself to one question. Maybe I should have been clear so we can get in as many people as possible. Let me get the gentleman that was next. I think it's a gentleman back there. Sorry.
Hi everyone. My name is Ifeolu Amayo Akimade. Ekarosa. My question is basically about, in general, Nigeria's population, like you said, an artificial creation of European colonialism, which of 200 million. I won't go into the issue like you mentioned. However, my question is, in general, should Nigeria exist as one entity? Because if you look at the last election, there's a clear divide between the north and the south. There's a clear divide between ethnicity and religious principle and different cultural ethnicities. Not that division will solve the problem, however, Nigeria is, like you talk about responsibility, or Nigerians taking responsibility in the future and moving ahead. Shouldn't leaders consider Nigeria as one entity, in the sense that should we really exist as one country, or should we possibly divide it up to ensure that mismanagement is less likely to happen? Thank you.
Okay, and then there was a lady right here. I think the mic is coming from the other way. Mm-hmm.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Amaka Anku. I run the Africa practice at Eurasia Group, which is a global political risk consultancy. My question is, you spoke in pretty broad terms about what you perceive as current mismanagement of diversity in Nigeria. I'd like to hear specifically exactly what you feel is being done that you would have done differently. How exactly is diversity being mismanaged currently? And how would you address the criticisms out there that in fact your opposition is due to the fact that a lot of elites have now been locked out of patronage systems under the present government? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think the first question, whether the American government sent Nigerian or report about Nigerian found fighting in Afghanistan, that never came to me. But I do not say that Nigerians are not found fighting in Afghanistan or anywhere. In fact, we know that Nigerians were Gaddafi recruited many Nigerians, not only Nigerians, Kenyans, Nigerians, Burkina Faso people. But that was not sent to me. Then you ask about how did I manage, what is the second point you asked? How did I manage?
Your dialogue with Boko Haram.
Okay, in my dialogue with Boko Haram. Let me take a little bit of time to explain that. I think Boko Haram, Sharia was there when I was there. It was started by Yerima in Zamfara. And anybody who is sensible and sensitive about Nigerian situation will know that one thing that can be irrationally difficult to handle is religion in Nigeria. And I know the reason why Yerima went the way he went. And he went to Sharia to save his neck and to protect himself. And it is in this country, when I was asked, I said, look, I understand Sharia. If it's a religious Sharia, it will survive. If it is not, it will fizzle out. And it did fizzle out. And later on, I saw Yerima. And I said, Yerima, he caught one hand, and he never caught the second hand. And I said, Yerima, are there no thieves in your state anymore? You have caught only one hand, you didn't cut. He said, sir, that one hand was a mistake. I won't cut another one. He didn't cut another one. He made, I think it's only in Katsina, they had somebody who was a lady who was supposed to have been caught in adultery, and he was supposed to be stoned to death. Then I called the governor. I said, how are you going to handle this? Say, leave it to me. I left it to him. And then, of course, the Sharia court gave judgment that the lady should be sentenced to death by stoning. And then I was furious. I called the governor. I said, look, you asked me to leave it to you. I have left it to you. This is not acceptable. He said, okay, leave it to me. And I said, this time I will leave it to you, but I will be following you as you are handling it. And then, of course, he asked his Attorney General to appeal, and they appealed, and then, of course, nobody was stoned to death. Now, the point is this. How do I handle this? The point is that in a country like Nigeria, what Yerima wanted me to do is to roll out the tank and say, Sharia, no. And of course, if I got a petition on anything for my 8 years as a democratically elected president, on any subject, it is on Sharia. And if I had done what people wanted me to do, maybe Nigeria would not be what it is today. But it's just a question of, again, knowing what you need to know and doing what you need to do. What matters is that we survive. And Sharia, I think 12 states in Nigeria made Sharia law. The Sharia laws are there, but nobody hears about any Sharia today. If I have rolled out the tank, it will have been a different story. North-South, I think North-South is question of management. And there's no homogeneous North or homogeneous South that we talk about. Now, if you talk about North today, where do you put Plateau? Where do you put Benue? Even when you take states like Adamawa, they are divided. Even Borno, that's where you get Chibok girls, 276 of them. They were almost all Christians. So I don't, and when you look at the profile of our census, it does not really match what some people are preaching. The 2006 census, which is not being used, figure, shows that the North, as you have it today, 19 states, is about 52.7, close to 53% of the population, and the South, with 17 states, is about 47% of the population. So even the South is not homogeneous. There are substantial Muslim population and animists, just as you have in some parts of the North. Now, so that is not an issue. The election, if you put election on basis of North-South, I think apart from manipulating the election result, I don't think you will get the result that you want. In 1999, the Yorubas didn't vote for me. They are from the South. I'm a Yoruba man, and they didn't vote for me. But the rest of the country voted for me, and I got almost two-thirds of the votes cast. The third question, I was trying to write it, but I didn't.
It was about managing diversity, that you talked in very general terms.
Okay, yeah, I talk in very general terms. Now, and what should I have done? That let me give you 2 or 3 examples. I just mentioned now, in 1999, the election, the Yorubas, who will probably, it depends on how you look at it, they will be either the second largest tribe in Nigeria, or depending how, if you take Hausa Fulani, you separate them, Hausa separate and Fulani separate, the Yorubas might even be the largest tribe in Nigeria. They didn't vote for me. And immediately after I took over government, I called some members of my government. I said, look, the Yorubas didn't vote for us. Let us see what we can do. I didn't say that because they didn't vote for me, the type of statement that President Buhari made when, after the 2015 election, and he said only those who voted for him will enjoy patronage. Now, that immediately put the back of some people up. Now, and then there are at least two zones who did not vote for him. South did not vote for him. Southeast did not vote for him. And anything he does, they see it, oh, he has said those who did not vote for him will not enjoy patronage. So you divide them. You made it they and we straight away. I wouldn't do that. That is specific. Then when you have a situation where your own tribe is being accused of something, now you must be able to look into it and make it transparently clear that that accusation is unfounded, or if it's founded, you deal with it. There have been, well, herdsmen, farmers. Now, herdsmen are mainly Fulanis. Nothing has been done. Rather than doing something about it, what we are having is, okay, we will create colonies, cattle colony. Where will you create colony in Nigeria? Is it in my own part of the country that you will now make a colony? Who will give you land to create colony within its own state? So these are specific. You are asking for specific. I can go on and on. But there are many things that should not have been done that are being done, and many things that should have been done that are not being done, that will have helped in the area of management of diversity.
Thank you, President Obasanjo. Now, we have Congressman Wolf here. So what I want to do is, because this is also, it's a global issue, as we talked about earlier on. So I want to internationalize two of the comments that were made. One is, there was a question here about intelligence sharing. After all, terrorism is a global problem. We see these people going back and forth with no respect to international borders or regions. And so the question was, what did the Nigerian leadership know after the Afghanistan and the Taliban? And so my question to you would be, would you care to comment, if this is something that's up your alley, in terms of how the international mechanism for sharing information, the US and other countries on this problem, has evolved since President Obasanjo was in office? Obviously, you can't deal with a problem unless you're getting the information that you need to deal with it. And then the second comment that was made was about negotiating with Boko Haram. Now, I know this is a lively debate about whether or not one should negotiate with terrorists. I mean, from a US perspective, what is the viewpoint then? What is the rationale for it? And how would it feed into, say, African countries negotiating with some of their terrorist groups?
Well, one, I think all of the nations, the Western nations, have a vested interest in what's taking place. You now have in Italy, you have 15,000 Nigerian girls and women being sexually trafficked in southern Italy. You have, every time there's a boat sinking in the Mediterranean, 5 to 10 to 15% of the people are from Nigeria and the surrounding region. We have reports, if you look at the Jamestown Foundation, of people leaving the Middle East, coming into the region. You have the killing of 4 American soldiers. I think there has to be a greater involvement of the United States to coordinate, but also with the French. The French have a vested interest there. The English have a vested interest there, and many of the other countries do. I saw a statement by the Irish singer Bono about 2 years ago. He said, it is an existential threat to Europe if this area fragments. So I think there needs to be sharing. On the issue of negotiating with Boko Haram, I think that really should be left to the Nigerians. I don't think it's appropriate for me to make a comment whether they should be negotiating. I don't think the United States is coming in to run. I think what you had, if you recall, on Senator Danforth coordinated all of the aspects of our government and brought them in, working with both, if you recall, Salva Kiir at that time and also with the North, to sort of bring the thing together. So I think whether you negotiate, that's up to them. But I think the Americans have an opportunity to come around and enable the Nigerian government to do things that it currently has a very difficult time doing now.
Thank you. Let me take another round of 3 questions. Priya, where are you? All right. Did you leave? All right. Let me go the back. I'll start with the gentleman over there, come to the lady over here, and then go right in the corner over there, and then I'll bring it up.
Hi, thank you, Mr. President. I'm Doug Burton. I'm a writer for Zenger News, as well as some local newspapers. I'd like to ask your response to the citizens' movements that have been arising in the last 4 years. You said that the problem is mismanagement of diversity. But what we've seen in the last 4 years with the Brexit effort, with the rise of parties in Europe such as the AfD in Germany, the Sweden Democrats with the Lega North in Italy, are populist movements which assert citizens' rights and resist multinational organizations such as the EU or the United Nations. And in the United States, we witnessed the rise of a popular president who is said to be a nationalist. Do you see a parallel between what is happening in Nigeria in terms of nationalism, or should there be a parallel between what is happening in Nigeria and what's happening in Europe and the United States?
Okay, that's one question. The lady right there.
Good morning, sir. My name is Oluwafunke Adebayo, and I'm representing 2 particular groups, I guess. My mother is the president of the Idonre Progressive Association, which is an organization that helps a subset of the Yoruba people, particularly from Ondo State. And myself, my name is, like I said, Oluwafunke Adebayo, and I work at the Department of Energy with the Energy Information Association. So my question is kind of 2-pronged, and it's about diversity. My first question is, how can diasporans help effectively? As you mentioned, the solution to Nigeria is from Nigerians. I went to Penn State, studied energy engineering to help Nigeria with the energy sector. I have land there. I've tried as much as I can possibly to break into the Lagos public works sector, and I have not been able to get my hands on ground to help, even for free. No one is trying to, kind of work with me there. And the Idora Progressive Association as well, excuse me, I'm stuttering, has also tried to help Idora as much as they can, but it's very hard working with the government on ground. And my second question is, do you feel it will be helpful if diasporans vote? Because like you said, we are not on ground and we are not, I guess, influenced by the politics that's happening there in the country. So if we're able to actually vote and help choose who our government leaders are, can we affect change? Thank you.
Thank you. And there was the gentleman at the back over there. Can somebody get him a mic, please? And then I'll work my way up. So I'm coming. I see you.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Obasanjo. All right, my name is Enoch Entry. I'm part of North Rock, and we're a tech company. So my question is regarding the regional integration. I remember you when you were in power, you were one of the few African presidents in the ECOWAS community that was trying to push for the regional integration of the ECO. And my question to you is, with the Continental Free Trade Agreement aggressively tackle this issue, because I mean, there's no way we can sit up here and talk about African prosperity without really solving the root of this problem. And to you, Congressman, where does United States stand when it comes to the whole when it comes to France's position? I know that Italy's prime minister called France out and mentioned that, hey, we have a migration crisis happening, all partially because of $500 billion being smuggled out by French companies every year. If things were better on the ground, that would not be the way. Where does the United States stand, and what is the United States doing to help solve and facilitate this issue? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take the first point about nationalism. I don't believe that communities are the building block for the continental integration. And we still have to do that. We don't have any alternative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congressman Frank?
I don't think our government is doing very much at all. Yet we're giving $400 million of foreign aid, but I don't think we're doing very much at all. When I watched the Chibok girl situation, when all the world leaders from all of them, I mean, Cameron, hashtag bring back our girls, nothing is really being done. Thirdly, the media is not covering this. The media today, keep in mind, Boko Haram has killed more people than ISIS killed in Iraq and Syria. Front page of every news story, Syria, Iraq, etc., ISIS. There are no stories about Nigeria. Almost nothing in the Washington Post. Periodically, the New York Times will cover it, but the Western media really isn't really doing anything. You compare this with Sudan. I went to Sudan many times. Members of Congress would go. It was a constant I don't know the name of a congressman other than Congressman Chris Smith that's been to Nigeria. And when they fly into Nigeria, it's 3 hours in Abuja and get back on the plane and leave. And then they say they've been to Nigeria. You haven't been to America if you've just gone to New York City and stay there for 3 hours and leave, or come to Washington. In Sudan, if you can recall, back in the 90s, many of the religious leaders in the United States, Chuck Colson, there were church services. I used to go to National Presbyterian Church, and they would have Sudanese people to come in and talk about it. You remember the Lost Boys? You remember what was going on? The coverage. It's totally different. So I think our government, for a lot of reasons, one, government is inspired by what they read and who's contacting them. Is the diaspora calling? You have a large diaspora in Texas. Are they calling Senator Cruz's office every day? Are they going in to see Senator Cornyn, a great guy? Are they going in to see Ben Cardin, a good friend in Maryland? Are they going in to see Senator Perdue down in Georgia? And so if the media isn't covering, the Washington Post never covers the story, the New York Times barely covers it, the Wall Street Journal doesn't cover it, it just isn't really happening. And so therefore, no members of Congress go, very few press go. So how's our government doing? Not very well. The religious leaders for Sudan were always speaking out. Always. The religious leaders in America for Nigeria are quiet. And so I think that we are not doing, the American government is not doing a very good job, because the media and nobody covers it. Every time I go out and give a speech, when I say the one thing, more people were killed in Nigeria by Boko Haram than was killed by ISIS in Iraq and Syria. People almost can't believe it. If that being the case, so our government's failing.
Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time or first day of coming across my YouTube channel or seeing my face, you are highly welcome. Herzlich willkommen zu meinem Kanal. My name is Linda Chukwuezi. It comment as button that says subscribe, and you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be able to get information on
Bis zum nächsten Video und einen schönen Tag. Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bis man subscribe to Linda's TV show. What are you waiting for? Click on that red button that says subscribe. You turn on the notification bell so that you'll be getting more updates from me. Leave your comments down below and share this video with your friends, families, and colleagues until we meet again in my next video. Bye bye.